Hey, it's the old man here, and international time. You know, I love doing them this way. I don't even have to get dressed in the morning. No, I'm dressed. I got my clothes on. So, international trucks. Before that, I got to tell you about my last video I did. I put Jimi Hendrix Electric Ladyland as the opening, and 30 seconds worth. One person got to see the video in its entirety with the video with Jimmy on there, and gave me a thumbs up. Thank you very much. And within 4 minutes, the YouTube shut me down. Worldwide ban, big red letters. I don't know. I thought I got the song off of YouTube. I've heard other people do it, but apparently you have to look and see if it's okay to use certain songs, so I'll have to do that. I just thought Rainy Day Dream Away was a very appropriate song for the Northwest. Jimmy knew what he was talking about. So, on to internationals. You know, they are solid machines. Built more like a tractor than a truck. Solid, it's very solid. I had that red one right there. I bought it from the original owner. I got the owner's manual with it, which I still have. And you could adjust the ball joints and tighten them up when they wore out. They had like it's kind of hard to describe, like a ball sticking up, and then the pipe went over that where the ball went in, and there was big screws, so when the ball joints got loose, you could tighten them up. Yeah, and that's just an example of how, solid these things were made. Here's I think it's a 52 International panel truck. It's a school bus, actually. It had seats for maybe 6-8 people could ride in it. I was told from the town of Leicester, which was a railroad town way up in the hills inside the Seattle-Tacoma watershed, and 42,000 original miles. Good machine. I liked it, except they were gas hogs. In fact, there's another picture of it. And the 63 Plymouth Savoy, that's the 55 International. Nice rig. I wish I would have kept it. 52,000. I'm off by 10. Sorry. That's not it. Well, oh, here it is. A nice old truck, 52 International. Wish I could have kept it, but 10 miles a gallon at $1 a gallon in 1979. Who would have ever thought it would get to where it is? So anyway, just a second here. I had it. I drove it for quite a while, and like I say, that engine ran like a sewing machine. I liked it very much. So anyway, it comes time to sell it. I live on the main highway in this town, and so I would just park cars at the bottom of the driveway right on Highway 410, and it was a really good deal. So it's for sale, and this shows up. A 1957 Chevy pickup. It threw a rod 10 feet from my truck. I don't know who this guy is, if you recognize it. The two of them were from Maine, I think, and that's where they were driving in this Chevy truck when it blew up. So we made a deal, and 57 Chevy pickup, that was a good deal. Well, not really. They paid me some cash too. So getting their gear out of it, even got the gas out of it. There's my bullet nose and the 55 and the 63 Plymouth Savoy. Here's a close-up of the engine. Thank you, Charlie. He was my cameraman. So we did the deal. And here they are, heading out. We took the seats out. I kept those. In fact, I had them for years. Real nice, well-built seats because they were going to sleep in it. I hope they made it home. I told them, I said it had a rear main seal leak, so check the oil often, and I'm sure they did. I hope so. If they didn't, it's probably sitting in North Dakota someplace in a junkyard with a rod knock. And there they go. Hope all's well, guys. Corn binders, good machines. Now here is the 55 International I bought from the original owner. Again, well-built machines, just tough as nails, and I had a good time with it. Here's a 57 International, and it ran good. At the time when I had this truck, there was a shop, a store in Tacoma called Ben's Truck Parts, and I mean, they had everything. When I had my Studebaker truck and living in Seattle, we used to drive all the way there to get brake shoes and wheel cylinders and you name it, they had it all. And also they had factory-made long blocks from International in crates. At the time, I think they were $350, which was a pretty good chunk of money back then. And I bought a brand new International engine and put it in that truck and drove it for a long time and then sold it. Yeah, that Ben's Truck Parts. At one point, they were cleaning house and they had up for sale glass taillight lenses, every kind you could imagine, for trucks. Some that looked like a Cadillac with the point to it, a red glass cone kind of a thing with a big long tube on it. Stop signs with the word stop. In fact, I did buy those, a set of them. I wish I would have had the money to buy all of them because they'd be worth a mint now. Good machines. And here is I think a 54 International, Studebaker in the background. And when I bought it, it had been sitting down in this ravine in the local town next door. And it had sat for, I think, 26 years. And we went down there, and I love doing that stuff. Take out the spark plugs, oil the cylinders good, spin it over a little bit. Hook up a outboard motor gas can to the fuel pump so you got fresh fuel. And after dinking around in the afternoon, we got it running. And by the time we left, it was almost dark. So as we left and drove out of this ravine, all overgrown and stuff, I turned the headlights on. I mean, we could see, but just to do it. And this old man, and here I am, the old man now, out on his deck. Midge, come here, look at this. No way, he's yelling at us. And he goes, that thing has sat there for a quarter of a century and you're driving it home? Look at this thing. And we just waved and smiled, and he was happy. He couldn't believe that we got it running after sitting for a quarter century. And like I say, they were good machines and built to last a long, long time. And here is the truck we called Rusty. Obviously, it had rust on it. A 4-door International, 2-wheel drive. Yeah, good machine. I mean, the body was rusted bad. I mean, it wasn't rusted out, but the name fit. Yeah, long before anybody even considered a 4-door truck, and now everyone has one. I was just ahead of the times there. And here is a 55 panel truck with my daughter in the window. I never did get that one running. Well, maybe I did. But that was the kids' playhouse. They drove it all over the place, you know, and with their imagination. And the back end was 4 theater seats, like a purple velvet kind of thing. And kids thought that was pretty cool. And here is that same truck we drove out of the ravine. These side racks were laying in the back in the dirt and branches and all that stuff. Like I say, sat for 25 years, oiled up the cylinders, probably filed the points, fired right up. It's fun. There's a guy I've been looking at on YouTube who he does cold starts after 20, 30, 40, 50 years even, and it's a rush to put your labor into it and hear that thing fire up and get it to idle. I love it. Now, going on 11 minutes here, I don't like to go too far. I'm lazy too. If there's one that's 20 minutes, I may not watch it. I believe that was a 74 International 4-door sedan. Had a V8 and it was a gas hog, but it was fun. We had a 78 Subaru station wagon prior to this. And when I bought this, I told people this is like driving a tennis court on wheels. I mean, it was huge compared to that little Subaru. And the kids up on the roof, I built a rack so that we like to cruise the old logging roads and the back roads, and the kids could get up on the roof and safely be up there within reason. There's a side view of it. This is a duck blind out on Fur Island that the hunters would build and maintain and keep out there and stuff. And I never could see that duck hunt. And I saw them guys out there in the cold rain, wind, self-abuse. They love to eat them ducks, I guess. Here we go. Some action shots. Big snowstorm. 4-wheel drive. I remember when the kids were little, I woke everybody up about 3 in the morning. Just like, hot cup of coffee. And said, hey, you kids, get dressed up. We drove into town and went to Denny's and had, I don't know, ice cream or something. We were the only ones on the road. Yeah, check it out. Plowed right through that stuff. It was a very, very strong, all of them were strong trucks. Idle them all day, didn't seem to hurt them any. Well-built machines. And here's a front shot. And when I bought it, I looked at it, this old man says, well, the front end's making a lot of noise. Something's wrong with the steering. So I went out there and looked it over, and this rack, push bar, was loose. And I just shook it. I said, well, that's what's making the noise. No, he says, that's not it. And that's what it was. I tightened that thing up and never did a thing to the front end. 13 minutes. Well, here's a little preview of the next show. 51 Buick. God, they were cool. Presidential cars. Traded my Citroen for it. And big, long, straight 8, Dynaflow transmission. I wanted to take an old picture to make it look old, but I neglected to see what's in the background, so it kind of blew the effect with late model stuff in the background. I went out and bought a suit and the whole bit to make it look cool. But yeah, I got a bunch more like that. Oh, this one came out okay. So you're gonna have a little International and Buick. Yeah, that was a nice car. This is a good one. Drove on the freeway like it was smooth as glass. It was a really nice machine. And that combination of the straight 8 and the Dynaflow. The Dynaflow was almost like a centrifugal clutch, if you know what those are. It's like you'd get on it. There was no quick takeoff. It was just a gradual, away you go. So anyway, I will be back, and there's a fella, I'm guessing, maybe it's a girl, that wanted me to talk about the changes I've seen in my lifetime. And boy, I do have some about that. Everything from the way TVs were to they are now, and yeah, and remember, the dipstick tells the story. So I'm going to come up with that one. That one, like I say, maybe a 2-part one, because there's been a lot of changes. And you know, it's really sad. The one thing I've noticed is the hate that I see and feel in America today. God help us. It's just a mess. I try to keep up on the news, but it's sometimes just too much. I don't want to leave my head in the sand, so I don't know what to do with all that stuff. But, you know, it's good to be informed, but I'll be back and we'll talk more about how things have changed. I got a thing to show you, the very first TV mute button. I'll let you think on that one. So, happy trails. The sun is out. It's supposed to be nice all week. That's good for this old man. So you all take care, and we'll see you soon, and adios.